go to a poetry night because poetry nights are fun. And if you're going to a poetry night and you're not having fun, then I think you need to try a different poetry night because that's not the one for you.
Ooh. You should go to an open mic night if you're a poet to try out your stuff and to hear what other people are doing in the scene around you. It's really good to get a temperature test of your space.
As an audience member, I mean, please come.
You will feel things that I think a lot of people sort of are encouraged to not let themselves feel on a day-to-day basis.
I've never brought someone to an open mic night who's not been before and not have them say afterwards, that was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Because people have an idea of what poetry is, but generally that's not what this poetry is, not what you're going to see at an open mic night.
I think my favourite experiences are taking my friends who have no interest in this stuff and they know I do all these things on the side. I think taking them and them coming out to being like, oh, I really liked how that girl did that, or whatever, like, that is really special.
I have a really good friend, Claire, who came to the first one at the Poetry Lounge, was like, this is amazing, I'm gonna go to more poetry nights, hasn't. And then was like, now I'm feeling the fear, I feel like I don't. And then she came back and she was like, this is the reason I come, like somebody had written something that is so present for me right now and had managed to articulate it in a way that I just had never thought about, and I'm leaving feeling lighter and I'm wanting to go to more poetry nights. That's like the ultimate impact for me.
Because it's fun. Because it's really fun. I mean, that's the number one reason to go. Because sometimes you can listen to poems and you're like, oof, So it's not that you're going to be like, oh yay, this is smiling the whole time, but just like, you gotta hear some great stuff. And you're probably going to hear some stuff that you also like, don't like in the slightest. You go for the like, who knows, and you go for the people, and you go because poetry is really fun and it's not this old-fashioned stuffy thing. It's like, you never know what someone's going to hear and you never know what you're going to walk away and go like, oh my God, I love that.
Will you be my comrade?
Yes.
Thank you. I bought red roses for you, and even though all property is theft, it seemed like the right thing to do. Will you be my comrade, my equal partner in love? Though my heart goes first to the state, I'll share it with you, my dove. Will you be my comrade, and we'll fight the capitalist swine? I'll make you a necklace of bourgeoisie teeth and promise you'll always be mine. Will you be my comrade, the Engels to my Marx? Like our nation's glorious steel mills, when I'm with you, I feel sparks. Will you be my comrade and rid the world of greed? Once we've built our workers' utopia, then you'll be all I need. Will you be my comrade? Bring justice to this land. I'll seize the means of production in one fist. With the other, I'm holding your hand. Will you be my comrade? Help to topple the dominant right. We'll set fire to their ivory towers and we'll kiss in the flickering light. Will you be my comrade? And laugh as the old order falls. Then I'll pull a Mikhail Gorbachev and help bring down your walls.
We are going to be really philosophical here. We, as people, only get to see one perspective of life, which is our own. And often we don't talk about, some of the really deep stuff that we go through and, how we feel about the world. And going to nights like that is such a, cool way of seeing how other people have had their, lives affected.
Why should you go to an open mic night? Because you'll learn things. You will learn about people and you will realise that there is so much to grasp from life by exposing yourself to the unfamiliar.
There are not enough spaces that oblige people to be truly vulnerable, and we are all, both as a community and also as a populace, we are all starved for that vulnerability, for that honesty. And if you allow yourself to engage with that honesty, it will insurmountably be a positive force inside of you.
It lends itself to emotional and mental development on both a community scale and on an individual scale, and also supporting grassroots creative ventures. A lot of these open mic nights don't receive funding, completely volunteer run. I think that supporting those is one of the best things you can do if you care about creative community in the time that we're in.
Yes, I could go and see 4 people who are highly trained in what they're doing, and it's crisp and the attack is there, or 30 people that you'll get, maybe some of the best writing you've heard in your life, even if it was a bar or a word or a sound. The authenticity of seeing someone get up to a mic and be shaking so much they can't hold their book, dash it to one side and realise they know it. It's alive, and it's, one of the best. You can't get that kind of thing anywhere else, where there is this homogenous, we're all on an even playing field.
I'm coming straight out of mixing up a couple of polite dudes, sitting with my nan who I figure has an attitude. She's on nothing but her teeth in. She can spit bars if she doesn't want to put her teeth in. Rolling down that street in a wheelchair, anorak waterproof, laid back with her money in her mind and her money in a scheme. It was all a dream. Used to read cookbook magazine, salt and pepper in her palm. She's a kitchen queen, at least she used to be, but nowadays everybody don't want to talk like she got something to say, but nothing comes out when she moves her lips. See, the difference is that my grandmother's actually forgot her own name. I hold the hands that dementia's squeeze. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Could the real Finn lady please stand up?
Yes, so the role of a feature at an open mic is usually to get people into the room. So if you have someone who's mega known and mega famous, then that definitely can help to attract an audience. It might even attract the elusive audience that's not like a poet crowd, that haven't been to an event like that before.
If you like one poet's work and you then know that you can show up at a night and you will get, 10 to 15 minutes of just that poet, and they will, have the support of a crowd and a host behind them, then you might be more likely to show up to an event like that than you otherwise would.
I think the role of a headliner or the role of a feature support act is partly from a marketing perspective to make people want to go because they know what they're getting into, and there is that predictability which you don't always get with open mics because you don't know who's going to be on stage.
Nights with features, nights without features, what's it like to be a feature, what does the feature bring? I personally love a night that has a feature, personally.
I generally tend to prefer nights with features because nights with features tend to draw more experienced poets. They tend to draw people who perform a lot of poetry, and so the level of what you're hearing is often higher, and the range in what you hear is often higher.
What I'm about to do is use the bruised part of my heart, infused by the true spark of the dark, to confuse the rude half of my past and turn it into a new shard of a glass half full type art. At least a start, right? Yeah. The moment I want to let this get negative is the same moment I make medicine and let this penmanship be a sedative. It's how I channel feeling free. My ego can get the better of me, but I'm the type that would give my right lung just for someone else to breathe. Breathe.
Most events are 20 minutes too long. And I think that's across the board. I think most films are 20 minutes too long, most plays are 20 minutes too long. And it's the same for open mic nights. I think that the quality of work can really vary. And when I say quality, that's obviously extremely subjective. If I know that there's going to be at least 15 to 20 minutes of poetry, or even sometimes more, that I know I will enjoy because I love that poet's work, I get really excited about that. And I just know that I will have at least had that.
I often find if I go as an audience member, I really feel quite riled up in a good way when I hear a feature where I'm like, oh, they've really crafted that so well.
For communities, it's important for us to elevate people to the position where they can have those headline slots so they can build their resume. If you're community focused, you want to be pulling from your own talent pool to give people chances to do stuff.
Lifting up certain performers for features in general is a net positive for the scene as a whole because it generates excitement.
But also, and I think it's harder in the UK than other places because of the cost of travel, it's an opportunity for us to bring talent from other scenes to our scene to show our friends and our community what is possible.
And it gives people something to aspire to, because you can have 3 or 4 good poems, but 3 or 4 good poems aren't going to get you across 20 minutes, so you realise you have to write more. And I think the feature sets inspire people to write more.
I do like the headliners, and I just really like seeing people who are really good at this. It's like, it feels inspiring and like, okay, yeah, that's where I want to get to.
I never see that many poets sort of outright, that's their job kind of thing. And not saying all the features in open mics are, but it feels like a little bit more like it's an official thing that we can do.
I wanted to have features because there are so many poets that I really look up to, that I'm inspired by, that I write in response to oftentimes, and I read poetry as much as I possibly can, and I really value that, and I want to have a night where I can pay poets. That's great.
My housemate thinks I might have ADHD. They tell me their symptoms, which sound like similes to the way I put my shoes on at least 30 minutes before leaving the house so I can feel ready, and my housemate thinks I might have ADHD. When his body language matches mine, it makes it easier, not easy, to cross off drink coffee from my to-do list, and my housemate thinks I might have ADHD. Only when I'm listening to a podcast can I put away laundry, put dinner in the oven, reply to texts about wedding gifts, and think about writing 3 belated cards before I can sit on the sofa next to my housemate who thinks I might have ADHD. The sofa where our conversations refuse to follow a single thread, but follow fidget rings and TikTok scrolls and rearranging the bookshelf. And did you see that they broke up, and have you eaten dinner yet? I have to tell you about what happened earlier, and I'm searching back through my emails for signs, wondering how far they can stretch back in time until I find I'm finally getting my diagnosis. I've even gone so far as to fill out.
I think it does affect the night because in a way it's the book is saying this is the kind of thing that we like, or this is the kind of thing that we'd want to prioritize. I think the best nights have a good variety of headliners, and that shows kind of that they're favoring a variety of poetry.
I like seeing more people. I think features can be good, and it is a great way to attract like very talented people, but equally I don't think I've necessarily gone to a place because of a feature. And I feel like I think I'd be more interested to see more people than a specific person in a lot of cases, unless it's someone whose work I really love.
As for a night without a headliner, I think there isn't this like big thing in the middle to like almost look forward to. And it's like the peak, it's like the climax of a story is when the headliner comes on. I think it feels more comfortable in terms of speaking, but I quite like having that person to, you know, look up to in a sense.
There's something about the energy of a proper open mic where it is just, okay, we have absolutely no idea what you're about to see, that is a little more dangerous in a good way, a little bit more, okay, let's see what happens.
Everybody can feel their toes a little bit too much. I talk in a volume that is absolutely inside appropriate. Sorry. I could feel my left sock sliding down my ankle, and I'm okay with that. Small talk is great, right? I'm exceptionally good at it. Look, outside, we have weather. The quiet beeping of the fire alarm battery down the corridor is music to my ears. In fact, I can't get it out of my head. I enjoy a varied soundscape with a plethora of noises reverberating simultaneously because my brain is perfectly capable to filter them efficiently, so I can even maintain a conversation. I can't sense electricity in the walls or taste oncoming storms on the tip of my tongue. That would be so crazy. My favorite yogurt got discontinued, and I definitely didn't cry in the dairy aisle at Sainsbury's yet again.
For me, I think a headline is only necessary if you believe that you want to attract a certain crowd. If you want a certain type of person to come through, you have to get that type of poet. But if you want all-inclusiveness, if you want someone to kind of come through with their own, I would say niche or unique, I feel like the most unique people come to events that don't have features.
If I'm performing, I tend to like open mic nights that haven't got a feature, just because it feels a little bit more like I'm allowed to enter that space in a way.
The feature ones are quite different because it's almost like when you have 3 or 4 feature people and then you have the open mic, that's a gig or a performance and then the open mic. As soon as you're making people stand out more than other people, that's no longer that's no longer an open mic. So afterwards, then it's either sign up and you can do this. But if you've booked someone to be somewhere and people are coming to watch that, that's a gig, that's a performance, that's different.
Even when I was presenting the headliners, I was trying really hard, and I don't know if it came through or not, but not to sort of build this hierarchy of, yeah, and now you losers read your stuff, and now we're on to people who've actually done something great.
I'm not a purist in that regard. I am quite fine with the idea of features. It still is an open mic so long as, anyone has the opportunity to show up and perform outside of the featured acts. And I can appreciate the role that they perform, which is, as I say, getting the audience and hopefully as wide a section of the kind of viewing public as possible excited.
We're only psychedelic, entwined at both the ends, a swirling Funkadelic and my baby called the pens. We're only here in slumber, only in the night, half a conversation, not a single bed in sight. They say we only have one life, and I know that it's a cliche, but I danced upon the knife to try and keep the hounds at bay. Tried to tell the wandering hands of love and of hate to go away, but we only have one life, and the jaded voices of our parents can't change the world we live in, though they try to shed some light. So let's drop the acid of our chemistry and forget the brutal way in which our lives are under scrutiny. Not forget that life is just a game to play. Try and just be true to me, because the things that I will do and see won't matter when we're gone. Except, of course, the wars we fight, the way we're dropping bombs, and if time has taught us anything, is that dead and gone means dead and gone, not 3 days gone then resurrected because some pompous prick objected to Adam and Steve and the lives they lead, because joy is a sin and we need to bleed, and forgive the extended metaphor, but life is so much more than the potential trip to a gleaming palace.
I mean, as someone who is very much against hierarchy, it feels hypocritical to say that I actually enjoy feature acts. But I feel like poetry is quite equitable in the sense that I started out just performing at open mics and just, going to as many as I could, and I can foresee a future where I could be booked for feature acts. Having the feature, not only is that the draw, it's someone who you could put on a poster who people might have heard of and who they want to come and see, but also it's very good for helping people improve. I've improved so much just by watching other poets perform. It's very inspiring to then go, oh, this is what I could do with language, or this is how I could improve this poem that doesn't quite fit or doesn't sound right.
I love open mic nights that are pure open mic and no feature. I love them so much. One that comes to mind is Resonance Poetry Night, and obviously Goddamn Poetry Jam, and many, many others. And I think they're really important and really good as well.
As much as I enjoy the straight open mics of everyone gets 5 minutes and we'll have as many people on as possible, I think there's room for both, and I think that by having both, you allow people to have an artistic space to develop and then see what they could do as well.
But whether you've published something or whether you've been writing kind of on the peripheries and not sharing, and then you suddenly got this courage to get on the stage and read in front of people you don't know, you can't judge who's better, because I think you getting on the stage already and you sharing something, that's what makes you great. So to answer your question, I don't have a preference. I think it's all just about us being people and us being poets.